Every step you take with an understanding of your destination is a success. If you're informed, intentional, and going in the right direction, that's how you're going to move towards your dreams every single time. But because you don't have any direction, you're walking aimlessly, wondering what's going on. You're not behind in life, you've just been walking with no direction. Here's how I found mine. Finding your direction in life is fairly simple. You just simply haven't been taught how to do it. Now, it's only a three-step system, but if you can follow every step of this, life will begin to change because you'll know exactly where you're going. And without clarity of your destination, it doesn't matter what medium, what vehicle, what thing you're trying to do, you will always fail. So, what are the three things that you need to be able to actually make a change in your life and have some direction? First, you need to know your dream outcome. Then, you need to know the exact avatar of a person who could successfully live in that dream outcome. And third, you need to understand how you're different from them. And from there, you know everything you need to know in order to be able to change your life. So, let's dive deep into lesson number one. You have to be able to answer this one question without any hesitation. If money wasn't an issue and you knew you would succeed at whatever you did with life, how would you serve the world? Now, this is arguably the most important question that anybody can answer, and this is absolutely my favorite question to ask because you start to see a shift in people. You see the excitement come over their face because they get to explore a possibility where they're living as their highest self. And so, when you want to start making a change and finding direction, start with this question. If money was not an issue, this is not a barrier that can hold me back. Money doesn't matter. And I like to tell people if they're struggling to conceptualize that, you get $10 billion to start with, but you still need to figure out how you're going to serve the world. If you knew you could not fail, then how would you actually serve the world? What would you do with your free time? What would you be? Where would you live? What would you do? Tell me all about this dream fantasy, this life that is bigger than the one you're currently living. And what I've noticed by asking this question is that there are a select few people who say, oh, I'd head to work tomorrow. Like, for example, I actually asked this young lady, she like stopped, turned to me, and she said, oh, I just put my scrubs back on and head into work tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay, so why do you say that? Like, why is being a vet the answer that you give? And she said, nothing's more important to me than taking care of animals. Like, this is my dream. I'm not in it for the money. I want to make sure I can take care of animals. She knows her dream outcome. She knows the reality she wants to live in. So when it comes to this answer, she's a success. Regardless of how much income she makes, she's won at life because she knows if money wasn't an issue and she knew she would succeed, that's what she would still be doing. And so I want you to ponder that question because once you can find the actual answer, then you'll see the true you. You'll see the child in you that's been waiting to explore the world. For the most part, most of us are living a life that we don't want to live. We're not excited to wake up because we're afraid we're going to fail at the thing that we would do if we knew we would win. Let that sink in. We don't live the life we want because we're afraid to fail at the thing we would want to do if we were assured a win. If you don't give a shot at what you want to accomplish, you never can. And because so many people are afraid to fail at the thing they want to win at, they put themselves in a position where there's no other option but to fail. So once you actually dial in, what is this life I want? How would I serve the world? Then you can move on to step number two. Know the exact type of person who would be able to live your dream life. What are their habits? What are their daily actions? What are their downtimes like? What is this person living like? You want to break down who could live this life. The best content creators have videos scheduled out months in advance. They would sit down, write out ideas. Then the next day they'd come down, sit, and write a bunch of scripts out. Then the next day they'd start filming their A roll. The next day they would film their B roll. Then they would actually sit down and edit chunks of those videos at the same time and start scheduling. There's a specific way that their day goes and the habits they have. How does their week go? How does their week flow? And by understanding that, I'm able to become closer to actually understanding what it would be like to be a content creator. Now, whatever your dream vision is, that's what you have to do for yourself. Look at the life you want to live. Okay, I want a 5 bedroom house in Calabasas. Whoa, how much is that going to cost? 3.2 million? Cool. I need to be somebody who can earn more than 3.2 million and put a down payment on a house like that. I want to have a beautiful wife. This is a part of the dream vision I have. Okay, well, to have a beautiful wife, how should you be? What type of man would deserve a beautiful wife? You need to break down this person who would be able to live your dream vision in such detail that you can start to almost imagine what they would look like, what they would sound like, how they would talk, what would they think about. Because when you can dissect that person so much, then the third step comes down to dissecting who you are and cross-referencing it with the person who can live your dream vision. Now, what does that mean? Once you have an exact person who can live in your dream vision, you know their habits, you know their mannerisms, you know their thought processes. Then you need to actually look at yourself under a line of scrutiny and actually assess, who am I? What am I doing? What does a normal day look like? What are my habits, mannerisms, and thought processes? Right? Because if you can know, this is the person who lives the life I want, this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing, then you can say, okay, where are things different? Where are things not lining up? Because once you know where they're not lining up, you can make the changes and make a difference for yourself, right? And so this is how I did it. I personally created a character assessment. It pretty much just outlines the most important things that people typically monitor in their life: income, net worth, debt. It goes over everything in great detail so that you're able to actually say, okay, this is who I am, this is how I am, this is what I'm doing. What are the differences between the person capable of living the life I want to live and the person that I am today? And once you can break those two things apart, you can say, okay, I need to develop the skill of this. And you can start to just literally have a clear, direct line of reasoning on what your steps moving forward are. And that's why you're able to actually gain clarity. That's how you're actually able to gain clarity. And that's how you actually start to shape the life you want to live. You're not behind in life. You've just been walking with no direction. And if you follow these 3 steps and you go through these 3 processes, you will gain the clarity that you need to be able to live the life you want to. Now, I hope you were able to gain a lot of knowledge from this. If you want to pick up my character assessment, I'll put the link in the description and you can be able to move on your way from who you are to the person you want to be. Now, you stay smart, you stay safe. I love you, and I'll catch you in the next video.